About this spot to glass is the morning sun's going to pop right over that ridge, and we're going to be blind for a while until it gets a little bit higher. But right now my number one basin has a tent right in the bottom of it, and this camp, or rather this basin, has a tent and 2 hunters in the bottom of it as well. So I'm just hoping that we saw some bucks in here last night, and hopefully don't get stirred up, and hopefully these two aren't too aggressive and going after them, and maybe they'll bed in a spot that I can circle around, come up from behind, and drop down in on them, because they're camped down below them. Like I said, I don't know. I hope they're smart hunters. They don't just blow this place out. Most of those bucks are small, but there's one or two that look kind of interesting. There's a big 2x3. There's 2 bucks that are bedded right at the base of those cliffs. I thought the 2x3 was to the right, but he's actually to the left, and he might be in a stalkable position. Definitely in a stalkable position, but whether a shot can be had or not is the question. Day 2, trying to thaw out in the sun, and my favorite basin's got a tent down the bottom of it. We popped over here just to see if there'd be some bucks in here, and there's 4 little bucks. Actually, no, there's a few more down below us there. So what's that, 4, 6? There are 8 bucks total, but they're all fairly small, and just trying to thaw back out again. But I'm gonna pop back over here in a minute and resume glassing. Hopefully I'll pick up a straggler, big buck, or decent buck anyway. It's been a pretty slow morning. Over there and glassed from a different perspective to try to see if I could find any other deer. There's 2 bucks bedded below us. One's a small 4-point, probably a 2.5, maybe 3.5-year-old, but just small frame, weak forks. And then there's a 3-point that has one side's a 3 and the other side's just like a 6-inch main beam. Kind of a goofy buck, but I went over there and glassed all over, and I didn't see anything else in there, and glassed over into the next patch of jack pines and couldn't really see into those too well. But I think it's 4 o'clock now. What we're going to have to do is just hope that on the way back towards camp we can kind of hunt our way back, and hopefully they'll start popping out in the evening here. We've got a pretty good wind right now, and hopefully it'll stay steady for us. Got a herd of elk right below us, and at least 2 nice bucks. There was a small 2.5-year-old 4-point. Was the only buck that I saw in the basin when it first popped over. I thought for sure somebody must have blown him out. But then he looked down side hill, down around, kind of around the corner. And then I scooted over here, looked over, and came across these 2 bucks here. When we were hiking up, there was 10 bucks in this basin. So hopefully they're still in here. That one that's a heck of a deer. We had a 4-point down here at the head of the basin below us, and thought he was going to bed up there, give us an opportunity for a stalk, but he just decided to beeline down towards the mouth of the canyon there, and he doesn't look like he's stopping. I don't know what got into him to make him decide to leave, but he's headed for a different zip code. Morning of day 4, just leaving camp. It's right about just for a little bit before 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're gonna go try and make about a 3-mile run over to where those bucks were we saw yesterday. I'm gonna get out in front of them on the far side of that bowl. Hopefully do the same thing as yesterday and go out around that point where I'm gonna be waiting for them and hopefully serve them up with an arrow. Well, I blew that one. Waited there for an hour and a half. Those bucks were probably never further than 75 yards and got as close to 40. And then finally that 4-point turned and he was coming in, starting to come in. I guess that 3 was down below me. I didn't see him, but that 3-point was down below me. And I reached down to pick up my bow, and I thought I was tucked in far enough behind the rocks, but apparently that 4-point picked me off. And they skedaddled, of course, and headed to the middle of the basin. So I'm gonna go see if I can find that group of bucks that was behind me. It turned out there was 7, and then 2 more came up and joined them, and then 1 more after the 9 went around the corner. 1 more came up the hill looking for them, and then he went around the corner as well. So there's actually 10 of them in there, and some pretty nice ones. So maybe I can relocate them and find a place still. Gust of wind swirled, and he must have caught a little bit of scent of me, because he came bounding down. Fortunately, ran towards me instead of away from me, and I already had an arrow knocked, and he stopped behind a piece of rock right in front of me, so I had to take 2 quick steps to my right, and almost like shooting between my legs, and I drew back just fast because I knew he was going to blow out of there any second, and I shot, and man, my bottom limb, I had my bow between my legs, my bottom limb slapped me right in the back of the knee, and my arrow, it was like in slow motion. It took all the speed out of it. It just went sailing down towards him and then went right underneath his chest. actually get a shot once I get over there. And the way that slick rock face is, I don't know how it's going to be maneuvering on there, but I'm going to make a run at it. We're running out of time, and this is only my second legitimate stalk this trip, so it's time to try to put it together. To be one of the coolest stalks I've ever been on, man. I had to take my shoes and socks off because once I got out here, I knew I was going to be out on some rock, and I didn't want to be out there on it with socks and end up sliding right off onto those bedded bucks.
Trail had started out promising, but it quickly became apparent that I hadn't hugged the shoulder blade as tightly as I needed to.
I think he probably wanted to cross.
I would say he probably drops. That's it.
After hours of searching and following pin drops of blood, followed by open field searching after we had lost the last sign, as light faded, we decided fresh eyes after some sleep might give us the hope that we needed.
Right there, dude. 10 yards. Look at that. No way. No way. We lost blood. It couldn't have been 20 yards from there. And we came by and searched this whole flat out here in those jack pines, 200 yards out. And we couldn't have walked 10 yards from them here. Unbelievable. Look at him now. Boy, he's got the shortest main beams any buck I think I've ever seen. Somersaults. I'll tell you, this is a lesson, man. Lesson to me that it doesn't matter if you're 10 feet, 10 yards, or 40 yards. You still got to make sure you absolutely visualize your arrow and where it's going, and which vitals you're going to catch, because I was so concerned about that shoulder blade and staying behind it. I think I just got too far back on him.